5 seconds. If I have presented a provocative budget, I cannot escape the consequences of my actions. I therefore welcome the criticism that has been voiced from different sections of the people. My proposals still hold the ground, and no alternatives which would help the government maintain the tempo had been adumbrated. When it was asked by some whether the plan was for the people or the people for the plan, they only did so at that moment from anger. There could hardly be any doubt that the plan was for the people. So far as we on this side are concerned, we went before the electorate a few months back with only one weapon in our armory. We promised the people that through the instrument of this second plan, we shall change the economic structure of the country to an extent that will show visible results in the standards of living of the common man. Our main hurdle was the shortage of foreign exchange. As the planners had recognized, if some more exchange was available, then they could inject a little dose of deficit financing into the country. Obviously, this forms our main obstacle, but it is secondary to the question of availability of food supplies in the country. The major preoccupation of us all today is the shortage of food supplies or the better distribution. Statistically, the country had adequate quantities of food grains, but there remain large pockets which did not receive enough supplies, and anti-social forces were taking advantage of the position to enhance the prices. Even if the plan was forgotten or scrapped, could the government sit quiet? It would still be their responsibility to find the food for feeding the people, and resources could then be thought of for the purpose. What was the use of a government elected on adult suffrage if it failed to do something to push the economy from the present stagnant position to a dynamic one? It is true that a large purchasing power remained with many people, but it was not reflected in savings because they do not have that habit. If someone were to say scrap the third steel plant, it might be a wild suggestion. We have entered into commitments. We recently laid foundations for the coke oven and other plants there. Borrowings were being made on deferred credit from friendly countries. All these have got to be paid in the future. Nothing fruitful could be derived by asking us to freeze all foreign assets and inhibit remittances abroad. The jute exports might contract, tea exports might not increase, cotton textiles might diminish, and a little more might then be available for engineering projects. But steel would be the only commodity on whose basis there could reasonably be exchanges between countries in future. It can, however, be admitted without reservation that many of our projects do not yield the returns expected from them. Some projects are there where even if all the agricultural schemes are put into operation, the income would hardly be sufficient to amortize the capital or even pay the interest charges on them. There exist already the organization and the methods division and a vigilance wing. We credulously endeavor to put a double check and an extra clamp on waste. It had freely been mentioned both here and elsewhere to extend the period of the plan. The plan is not some kind of India rubber to be elongated, it is inflexible. The wealth tax and expenditure tax are on the anvil of being enacted. Avoidance of declarations to the taxpayer we cannot think about. Wealth tax becomes possible only in the event of women declaring their jewelry. But I shall take care if I continue to be here and do not. Administration allows them some time. Ministers also are human beings. We all started on an agitational approach. We live in cages, and when we are freed, our wings do not go in the direction we wish to go round, and sometimes we wander around. Suggestions regarding prohibition and salt tax were made, but sentiments and reason did not go together. The direct taxes proposed took the country forward towards the accepted tenets. I do not agree that in the past the raising or lowering of the limits had been very rational. The present limit would bring in an appreciable number of shopkeepers and other non-salaried classes, which is likely to grow, and as we eliminate the top brackets progressively, we increasingly depend on these classes unless we give up all taxational measures and resort to indirect taxation. Increase in corporate taxes was found necessary because in India it was too meager. The increases were refundable to shareholders. We wish to do something for slums, for the people living in huts and insanitary conditions, and a lot for the refugees. Our heart bleeds and pulsates for the common man. We endeavor to keep the economy of the country on an even keel. Hyderabad, dated 2nd March 1958. To Messrs. Crompton Engineering Company, India Limited, 47 Armenian Street, Madras. Dear Sirs, we thank you for your letter of the 28th ultimo. In reply to ours, we are extremely grateful to you for all the suggestions you have tried to make to us in the interests of our branch office and in upgrading the sales of electric goods in general. After receipt of your letter, we hasten to inform you that we have availed ourselves of the earliest opportunity of conferring with our principals and seeking their advice with regard to the particular points raised by you regarding our future plans for the expansion of our business premises in Hyderabad. As you must be aware, the state of Andhra Pradesh has embarked on huge electrical development program with a view to catch up with the progress obtaining in the neighboring sister states. As a consequence, we have indeed much pleasure in informing you that we are receiving firm orders for supply of high voltage transformers, copper wire, iron poles and conductors. Every alternative week letters and reminders have been pouring into our office for definite replies when the intended stocks of materials are expected in India and delivered to their departments. We may assure you that we have been watching the progress of the works, and we are assured that the materials thus far supplied are acclaimed to be the best and cheapest. We may take this opportunity to impress upon you the desirability of keeping in stock all varieties in different sizes for expeditious compliance of the intents. Since there is a clamor for various sizes of towers consequent on the launching of a scheme for extending electricity to all the rural parts, we are very much desire that our orders might be given top priority. Please find enclosed here with an indent for the goods which please order compliance expeditiously. The order for shades is as per design and specification and is not liable to be altered, and no substitutes will therefore be accepted. Our customers plead that any delay would cause loss. They intend completing the works before the advent of monsoon. Yours faithfully.